welcome to my channel, Willa Candy's channel. If you're new here on this channel, I eat food, I read my Bible, I'll share stories of my own because I'm a writer, and I also will share stuff that I have seen on the news or either TikTok, etc. How is everyone doing today? I hope everyone is doing great on this beautiful Sunday, June the 28th. It's feeling great out here. It ain't too hot, it ain't too cold. It has been storming though. I think it's a hurricane out there. I think it's called Hurricane Arthur or something like that, but it's elsewhere. But we might be getting part of it because we have been having rainy days for some days, thunder and lightning and heavy rain. But you know what? I'm one of those people who actually like to hear the rain, hit against my window. I like to hear rain outside. I feel like it's time to take a nap around that time. It's time to chillax in your room, and just hear that rain, like just, like hitting up against your window. I like the sound of rain. Do anybody else like the sound of rain? Like, soothing and therapeutic, if you know what I mean. Get into the word. Reading in chapter 20 of Ezekiel. And it came to pass in the 7th year, in the 5th month, the 10th day of the month, that certain of the elders of Israel came to inquire of the Lord and sat before me. Then came the word of the Lord unto me, saying, Son of man, speak unto the elders of Israel, and say unto them, Thus saith the Lord God, Are ye come to inquire of me? As I live, saith the Lord God, I will not be inquired of by you. Will state you judge them? Son of man, will state you judge them? Cause them to know the abominations of their fathers, and say unto them, Thus saith the Lord God, In the day when I chose Israel, and lifted up my hand unto the seed of the house of Jacob, and made myself known unto them in the land of Egypt, when I lifted up my hand unto them, saying, I am the Lord your God, in the day that I lifted up my hand unto them to bring them forth of the land of Egypt, into a land that I had expied for them, flowing with milk and honey, which is the glory of all lands. Then said I unto them, Cast ye away every man the abominations of his eyes, and defile not yourselves with the idols of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. But they rebelled against me, and would not hearken unto me. They did not every man cast away the abominations of their eyes. Neither did they forsake the idols of Egypt. Then I said, I will pour out my fury upon them, to accomplish my anger against them in the midst of the land of Egypt. But I wrought for my name's sake, that it should not be polluted before the heathen among whom they were, in whose sight I made myself known unto them, and bringing them forth out of the land of Egypt. Wherefore I caused them to go forth out of the land of Egypt, and brought them into the wilderness. And I gave them my statutes, and shewed them my judgments. Which if, Lord forgive me, a man do, he shall even live in them. Moreover also I gave them my Sabbaths to be a sign between me and them, that they might know that I am the Lord that sanctified them. But the house of Israel rebelled against me, and the wilderness they walked it not in my statutes, and they despised my judgments, which if a man do, he shall even live in them. And my Sabbaths they greatly polluted. Then I said, I will pour out my fury upon them in the wilderness to consume them. But I wrought for my name's sake, that it should not be polluted before the heathen, in whose sight I brought them out. Yet also I lifted up my hand unto them in the wilderness, that I would not bring them into the land which I had given them, flowing with milk and honey, which is the glory of all lands, because they despised my judgments and walked it not in my statutes, but polluted my Sabbaths, for their heart went after their idols. Nevertheless might I spare them from destroying them, neither did I make an end of them in the wilderness. But I said unto their children in the wilderness, Walk ye not in the statutes of your fathers, neither observe their judgments, nor defile yourselves with their idols. I am the Lord your God. Walk in my statutes, and keep my judgments, and do them, and hallow my Sabbaths, and they shall be a sign between me and you, that ye may know that I am the Lord your God. Notwithstanding the children rebelled against me. They walked not in my statutes, neither kept my judgments to do them, which if a man do, he shall even live in them. They polluted my Sabbaths. Then I said I would pour out my fury upon them to accomplish my anger against them in the wilderness. Nevertheless, I withdrew my hand and wrought for my name's sake, that it should not be polluted in the sight of the heathen, in whose sight I brought them forth. I lifted up my hand unto them also in the wilderness, that I would scatter them among the heathen and disperse them through the countries, because they had not executed my judgments, but had despised my statutes, and had polluted my Sabbaths, and their eyes were after their fathers' idols. Wherefore I gave them also statutes that were not good, and judgments whereby they should not live. And I was polluted them in their own gifts. And that they caused to pass through the fire all that openeth the wound, that I might make them desolate, to the end that they might know that I am the Lord. Therefore, Son of man, speak unto the house of Israel, and say unto them, Thus saith the Lord God, yet in this your fathers have blasphemed me, and that they have committed a trespass against me. For when I had brought them into the land for which I lifted up my hand to give it to them, then they saw every high hill and all the thick trees, and they offered their sacrifices, and there they presented the provocation of their offering. There also they made their sweet savor, and poured out their drink offerings. Then I said unto them, What is the high place whereunto ye go, and the name thereof is called Bama unto this day? Wherefore say unto the house of Israel, Thus saith the Lord God, Are ye polluted after the manner of your fathers, and commit ye whoredom after their abominations? For when ye offer your gifts, when ye make your sons to pass through the fire, ye pollute yourselves with all your idols, even unto this day. And shall I be inquired of by you, O house of Israel, as I live, saith the Lord God? I will not be inquired of by you, and that which cometh into your mind shall not be at all, that ye say, We will be as the heathen, as the families of the countries, to serve wood and stone. As I live, saith the Lord God, surely with a mighty hand, and with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out, will I rule over you, and I will bring you out from the people, and will gather you out of the countries wherein you are scattered, with a mighty hand, and with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face, like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt. So will I plead with you, saith the Lord God. And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant, and I will purge out from among you the rebels, and them that transgress against me. I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. As for you, O house of Israel, thus saith the Lord God, Go ye, serve ye every one his idols, and hereafter also, if ye will not hearken unto me, but pollute ye my holy name no more with your gifts and with your idols. For in my holy mountain, in the mountain of the height of Israel, saith the Lord God, there shall all the house of Israel, all of them in the land, serve me. There will I accept them, and there will I require your offerings, and the first fruits of your oblations. With all your holy things I will accept you with your sweet savor, when I bring you out from the people, and gather you out of the countries wherein ye have been scattered, and I will be sanctified in you before the heathen. And I will Lord, forgive me. Now, and ye shall know that I am the Lord, when I shall bring you into the land of Israel, into the country for the which I lifted up my hand to give it to your fathers, and there shall ye remember your ways and all your doings wherein ye have been defiled, and ye shall loathe yourselves in your own sight for all your evils that ye have committed. And ye shall know that I am the Lord when I have wrought with you for my name's sake, not according to your wicked ways, nor according to your corrupt doings. O ye house of Israel, saith the Lord God. Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face toward the south, to drop thy word toward the south, and prophesy against the forests of the south field, and say to the forests of the south, Hear the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, I will kindle a fire in thee, and it shall devour every green tree in thee, and every dry tree. The flaming flame shall not be quenched, and all places from the south to the north shall be burned therein, and all flesh shall see that I, the Lord, have kindled it. It shall not be quenched. Then said I, Lord God, they say of me, doth he not speak parables? Word of the day. This episode, episode 20, Shelvonya, it's called Grandpa Pete's funeral. And in this episode, Shelvonya has to leave out of town. She has to leave out of town with her mother, Velveteen, and her sisters, Shamora and Vatsima. They have to all go down to Alabama. And yes, Shelvonya, a lot of her mother's side of the family is from Alabama. Father's side is from the area where they is at Germison. But, Shelvonya was also raised in parts of Alabama too. But she moved to, Germison when she got, at a grown age. Her mother moved to Germison because of family drama. But her mother had to come down, because her grandfather died. And his funeral was a mess. That's all I can say. His funeral was a mess because secrets had came out. Secrets that folks was sweeping under the rug and thought that it would stay under the rug, and didn't know that somebody was going to sweeping it out. That person, because Shelvonya and them also have aunties and uncles on their mom's side of the family. It's their mom's brothers and sisters. And one of Velveteen's sisters, Minnie, she only got one brother, Shelvonya's mother, Velveteen. She only has like one brother and some sisters. It's her sisters, Minnie, Pazzy, Gertrude, and Tony. And then there's Nate. Nate is the only, is Nate. No, she got two brothers and the rest is sisters. It's Nate and Isaac. And the rest is the sisters. Tony, Gertrude, Pazzy, and Millie, yeah. And Nate and Isaac. That is all of Velveteen's brothers and sisters. And it was Millie who had found out that she was adopted. That her and her siblings. I'm trying to make sure that freaking mosquito don't bite. Millie found out that she was adopted. That her and the rest of her siblings, Pazzy, Gertrude and Tony and Nate and Isaac, they all don't have the same mother. Millie and them, they have different fathers. No, they have the same father. They just don't have the same mother. The rest don't have the same mother. Gertrude, Pazzy, and Tony. I'm trying to remember. Gertrude, Pazzy, and Tony, and Velveteen, and Nate and Isaac. They share the same mother, except for Millie. Millie had a different mother than the rest of them, but they had the same father. And when she found that out at the funeral, she had found that out from the funeral from their from Shelvonya's she found that out from one of from one of Velveteen's aunts. She had found that out from one of Velveteen's aunts. And they came out, with the truth with her. One of Velveteen's aunts, who was drunk and tipsy, her name was Classy Shepherd, and she was drunk and tipsy, and she ended up, having a ball. She was standing with, the rest of them. Outside, it was Velveteen and her siblings, and she came outside staggering drunk. One of them aunties that just like to get, partied and turned up and drinking and stuff. Well, Classy, she came outside with her drink, and she was like, Well, I got some news to drop to you, Millie. And she told Millie, she told Millie all of it. And Millie's mouth dropped like that. She told Millie that, like she wasn't able to take care of Millie. That's why she had to leave out of town at a young age. But she had to leave out of Alabama at a young age. But she ended up coming back to Alabama and finding the love of her life and everything. But she said that she was young and she didn't know what to do with a baby. She was 16 years old when she got pregnant with Millie, and she had to hand the baby off to her sister, who is dead. And she had to hand Millie off to her sister, who is dead. And her sister, who is dead, that is Shelvonya's and them mama. But Millie's mama is the lady who's spilling out the truth, Classy Shepherd. And she was like, I'm sorry, I had to let my sister, take you in. And hope you forgive me for that and all. And this hurted Millie. She thought that she had the same mother and the same father with her siblings. But she ended up finding out that she had a different mother from the rest of them. And like, she was in tears. But Velveteen and the rest of her siblings were there to comfort her and let her know that everything would be all right, and to dry up the tears. But Millie just could not believe it. Like, she was still angry at her birth mother, for basically abandoning her and not wanting to have anything to do with her, and and lying to her. And so she ended up getting into a fuss with her drunk mother, Classy, right, after the funeral. And it had turned into a bit hullabaloo, a fight, because Classy had ended up slapping some fire to Millie's face and was like, I am still your mother, you don't talk to me like. And then Millie ended up slapping her back, and the two of them were just going back and forth, Velveteen trying to jump in and break up the fight and stuff. And then turned to a big mess. And other gentlemen that was at the funeral, Nate and Isaac, had gotten into a fight with them. Everyone was just fighting on top of each other. And Shelvonya was like, oh my God. She stepped outside and was like, oh my God, I can't wait to go back home to Germison. Like, she was ready to go home. Like, she did not want to stay down there around all that drama. She was ready to go home. And she also she was just ready to go home and just be around her husband. And she was also shocked about the news, like about Millie, Millie's real mother, is Classy. So she was shocked about that. She was shocked at all this fighting that was going on. She was thinking to herself, like, Lord have mercy, Grandpa Pete got to be buried in the ground and all this drama is going on all around. Like, can't everyone just get along? Like Rodney King said. But this was way before Rodney King got beat. This story takes place in the early 80s. But I just throw it in, what Rodney King said. But, she was like, Lord, everybody need to just get along. Uncle Pete about to get buried in the ground. Can't you see how short life is? And they sitting there fussing with each other. Yeah, it's messed up what Classy had done. He kept hidden from her, for Aunt Millie, for Auntie Millie. But at the end of the day, I do not like to be around this, arguments and this fighting and stuff. Shelvonya stayed outside to herself. Then eventually her siblings had came outside and stayed right there with her till the drama died down. And Velveteen and them, they ended up making it back to Germison. And while Shelvonya was away, Alexis had fell into gambling again. Yes, he fell into gambling again. And, even though he was, shown a vision of hell, like a warning, basically a warning sign, like not to do it, he went right on in and fell into sin. And you know who had drew him in? Not only Satan, but who had pulled him into gambling and drinking and stuff again? It was Ricochet. Ricochet was saying, man, I know why you want to turn away from that. It didn't have nothing to do with God. You want to turn away from what you usually do with us because of your wife, Shelvonya. He thinks Shelvonya had taught that Alexis into turning his life around and staying away from them and not wanting to gamble or drink or anything. But Alexis said, no, Shelvonya did not come to me and tell me that I need to change my ways. She been telling me that. I've been wanting to do what I want to do. It was God that has showed me that. And Ricochet said, come on, man, a little dice won't hurt. A little dice, 7 again won't hurt. A little drinkity drink, won't, isn't, it's sin if you want to drink it, drink every once in a while. Now, drinking every day, it could turn you into a wino, and I can understand it becoming a sin. But that's not really a sin. So, yeah, Alexis got back into that. But Shelvonya doesn't know that. She think that Alexis fully had changed, even after they had rescued him out of that cult situation that he was in. If you don't know about the cult situation, I suggest you check out the video that I had did, like, I don't know, 2 days ago, I don't know, but I did it out here, and not the one with my nephews, but the other one where I told about no, I didn't do it out here. I did it in the house. Think it back. The Lord blessed me to think back, but I did it in the house where I told about Alexis joining the cult, and Shelvonya and his friends and all had to help him about this situation. And I compared it to the Jim Jones massacre, but the Jim Jones massacre was a lot worse. But this was basically as bad as the Jim Jones massacre, so you can check it out if you want to. But anywho, yeah, Alexis got back into that. Shelvonya has no clue at all that Alexis had got back into gambling and drinking. He's keeping it hidden from her and acting like he still, isn't sinning. He's still reading the Bible and wanting to go to church with her, but he's keeping the dices hidden and the alcohol bottles hidden. But Shelvonya was happy to make it back home. And right, when, Alexis and his friends was hanging out, it was like a little small party, like get together with all the guys. They were having that, going on inside, the house. They were having that going on inside the house. And then the guys, when they gather together, someone will order over some chicks, like females, and they had like 3 women they had let into the house, about 3 or 4 women they had let into the house, and these women, they dressed it raunchy. Everything about them was raunchy because they were them type of women, that was into stripping. If you know what I'm talking about, they were just, they dressed it up like how the guys wanted them to dress up. It was the early 80s. They had on crazy weird wigs and stuff, velvet gloves and all of that. All this. I'm going to just say how the exotic dancers probably looked it back in the 80s. I don't know. But viewer's discretion is advised. But, those guys, had wanted them women to, come over, to please them, to make them happy and stuff. Alexis was not really comfortable when Ricochet and them had ordered, them some women to come up and entertain them. But, one of the women ended up coming up to Alexis and ended up having, she had, this feathery, pinkish, purple, feather scarf that she was wearing. Because it was, part of her outfit. And she was like, you want to dance, baby? And Alexis was like, no, I'm okay. I'm cool. I'm married. He's showing off his ring. And then she said, oh, if you're married, then where's your wife? And then, my wife is out of town, and she gonna be here in any minute. I don't know when she gonna show up. And she's like, oh, little dance won't hurt. She took her scarf off and placed it around Alexis' neck. She was just moving the scarf around and trying to get him closer to her. He was like, come on. And then the feathers started tickling around his neck. No, I don't want to dance. This kind of tickles. Alexis started getting ticklish from the feathers on the scarf, and then he just went on ahead and started dancing with the woman. And the woman put her arms around him and stuff. They're dancing all over him, and he still had a scarf around his neck. Now, what he should have done was started the party, because Shelvonya, as soon as that door flew open, it was Shelvonya and her sisters and her mama standing right there. And her mama, has her shades on, oh, my God. And Shelvonya was oh, we're going to have a long talk tonight. That's what she was saying. And Alexis was like, baby, it's not what you think. All I can say, yes, he did get cursed out by Shelvonya. He did get cursed out. But she didn't make him sleep on the couch this time. But he did get cursed out by her. He explained that it was Ricochet's party. And she's like, okay, if it's Ricochet's party, then what the heck was that woman doing I love you with her scarf around your neck? He said, she just wanted to dance. I kept telling her I didn't want to dance. He said, well, why did I open up the door? And the first thing I see is you dancing with that health, Shelvonya just came down asking questions, as she should, because that's his wife. But it ended with Alexis catching hell's fire from not only Shelvonya, but her mama and her sisters. You know better. You be having a party while your wife is away, mourning the death of Grandpa Pete. You should be ashamed of yourself. But Shelvonya quickly forgiving him and just gave him a hug herself and a kiss and said how, how much she missed him and that she's not going back to Alabama no time soon. And there was just a lot of drama going on. And she told about, her Aunt Millie and her Aunt Millie finding out that, Shelvonya, not Shelvonya, Velveteen and their mama wasn't really her mama. It was Classy Shepherd. That was really her mom. So it was just, that's basically the end of this episode. And like I said, I'll be in Tar Mama like on the 20-something episode. I don't know, 29th episode of God's Will. I don't know, but it's not going to be a really long episode thing. But if you've been sticking around and checking these videos out about these episodes, thank you so much. It's truly a blessing. And if you just simply be checking my videos out, I really appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. It's really nice. And it's not easy being a content creator, a small content creator at that. But, I try my best. And I just hope everyone out there, stay safe, drive on the road safely, love one another, treat everyone with respect. Even when if you're having a bad day at work or having a bad day in general, always know that there's hope around the corner and hope is not far away from you. So please don't give up. Don't give up on hope. And just, you could always stop by this channel. And I read the word of the day, of course, because I'm a Christian. I would include it with my videos because, I always do. And hope you like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you haven't. If you're new here, welcome to my channel, Willa Candy's channel. And I will also do, I guess I could say, a short skit that has to do with a true story, a tragic true story at that. I was going to do a short skit. And yeah, bye-bye.